Alright, a wonderful Sunday afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. So what you see here is me 5-0ing a league that I started yesterday evening, and that's also the reason why I didn't record it. It was late already, and I only played like 1 or 2 matches last night, and then the rest this morning. And usually I don't do this, like go over the matches in a review session. But this time around, I wanted to break that rule. I hope it's not as bad a viewer experience as I ought it to be. But we're going to go over a couple of matches here because some of them were pretty insane and a whole lot of fun to play, and therefore I didn't want to keep you out of the loop here. So I'll see what I can do here. So first of all, the first 3 matches were all Tron. Eldrazi Tron here, and then Green Tron, Green Tron. So let's head on in here real quick. Alright. So play the replay. And of course, we're on a draw, and our opponent mulliganed once here with this Ghost Quarter. I didn't even know yet that we're playing against Tron. Eldrazi Tron. I'm taking Dismember to protect the Jace, which I then play. It was unlikely that our opponent would have turn 2 or 3 Thought-Knot Seer. Ditching the Logic Knot because I know about the Cavern. Thought seizing the Thought-Knot Seer, so he's left with a Reality Smasher. Finds a Karn here, I believe. No, Walking Ballista. Which of course is not very good for us, but so I'm attacking in with the Snapcaster Mage, but I'm pretty certain that he's gonna go Jace. So Kolaghan's command here, going after his hand, because either he drops a land, which he does in Cavern of Souls, which will open up our chances down the road, and he will have to hit a land here, which he doesn't do. So pretty sweet target here for Ricefall, and he's out of cards in hand, Mad Reshaper. And from here on out, it's pretty slick and easy. We have our counter spells, a lot of them, and just attack in with our Snapcaster Mage. So our opponent did have a very powerful hand, but we were able to go under it the whole time. And yeah, so Reality Smashers just get countered. And then so here's the Serum Visions, Lightning Bolt I want to have. The other one to the bottom, and then this one I'm going to counter as well, just because I want to have, yeah, and then use up. So this is that. Alright, that was not correct. Alright, just a second. Alright, I'm back. I'm gonna do it differently now. I closed the window and can't figure out how to open it back up since they changed it. So Game 2, I'm keeping a Terminate mainly, and a Serum Visions to get there. Damping Sphere, also pretty nice. And another Terminate. So we do have a pretty good also set of draws, and him actually going for the Tron here instead of having like Eldrazi Temple and such. Really helpful, the Damping Sphere. And he's going with Blast Zone to blow up our Damping Sphere because he doesn't have any other means than a Blast Zone to get rid of it. And I think I'm going to go with Nimble here. No, I'm saving Nimble against the Blast Zone, I guess. Just couldn't remember. And again, keeping the Nimble up because he's probably putting counters on the Blast Zone here. And then if he wants to main phase it. Alright, so there comes Thought-Knot Seer. Here he might have taken the Nimble anyway, so I'm choosing to counter the Thought-Knot Seer with our Nimble. And then go with the Terminate, having Logic Knot up, and in our graveyard there is quite a bit. Right, he's choosing to go with the Walking Ballista first, and then blow up the Blast Zone. A little weird on the sequencing here. But I guess if he did it the other way around, then we would have just countered the Walking Ballista, so still fine. Going with Fulminator Mage here to blow up his lands again. And we hit an Ugin the Ineffable. Pretty sure I'm going to counter here. Yep. And our opponent's again out of cards, but also be reminded here that we killed an Urza's Mine. There's an Urza's Mine in his hand. So I'm gonna go. I know he has Tron online again, so I rise both my Snapcaster Mage and the Fulminator Mage to kill the mine again. Second mine. Matter Reshaper, all these small things that aren't really good, but provide him with value. And here's the third mine, which already like makes me freak out. And the reason I'm killing this over and over again, on the one hand, is Walking Ballista. On the other hand, I'm pretty scared of the Planeswalkers. So if he has Tron online with like 10 to 12 mana, and there's the fourth mine, and I'm just losing my shit. It's like the first 20 cards, and we're just killing it over and over again, and you know. So for the fourth time, we're killing the mine, and from here on out, it's just pretty smooth sailing. So because against Eldrazi Tron, for the most part, you're going to be hit by Megathon Lattice once you run out of resources, and you just give them all the mana they want. Yeah, we're countering as long as we can. We're trying to find a Cypher Blur before he blows up the Relic. That's also why I'm electing to not play the Snapcaster Mage here all along. So yeah, just getting some cards exiled here in between doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference. And Smasher hits another Cryptic Command here, which would also leave us up with the Terminate in case that would have been necessary. So now there's a Nimble in our graveyard. I'm going to go with the Goblin Realm Master, and here it is. So I'm playing it the way that, what you can see, there's another land. So yeah, basically forcing the action here in the strong belief that I can handle the Graveyard Hate. So we get a sweet 2 or 3 for 1 here, have absolute ground control, and win it from here on out. Next turn we have lethal. So I did make 2 changes. First of all, Blaststone is great, but there's a lot of big mana decks where Blaststone just isn't great. So I chose to put in a Wandering Fumarole. On the one hand, 1 damage can be relevant from time to time. On the other hand, though, it just blocks, for instance, Matter Reshaper and trades with Thought Knot Seer when that's necessary. So also mana-wise, it just gives you a little bit more play there. And so cut down 1 Blast Zone, put in a Wandering Fumarole, and then added in the flex slot on the 3 mana drops, added 1 Goblin Realm Master, just again to punish these big mana decks, which worked out fine here. So I'll be back with round number 2 in just a bit. Alright, round number 2, again, playing against Tron here, which of course I didn't know beforehand. But seeing the mine again, oh no, this time the power plant already, very tilting. And of course, by him playing the Chromatic Sphere, we know that it is indeed Green Tron. I'm electing to force a negation his scrying here, just because sometimes they keep a low land count if they have access to a turn 3 Tron, and interacting here paid out. We got them on 2 lands in hand, and I kept mana open as long as I could, instead of electing to go with the Jace, just to Logic Knot a potential other Sylvan Scrying, which also paid out here, and now we can follow up with Jace, right, to really get ahead. Also, from here on out, we do have Snapcaster Mage and Force of Negation up, and we're so far ahead that I'm actually building towards a Jace ultimate here. On the one hand, of course, that is gonna be a relatively quick clock in case, you know, we shouldn't be done before this O-Stone hits with Nimble. But yeah, overall, we're just hitting. I also didn't make him discard. I shocked him here, and here we have lethal on board. And that's that. Alright, game number 2 here. I don't know why the chat is in here now and wasn't in here before. So we are on a mulligan to 5 even, which of course is horrendous against Tron. But, and we didn't even have a great hand. So, taking the Sylvan Scrying, and our opponent didn't have a clear path to turn 3 or any Tron at all. And he's also just cycling through his deck while we're trying to actually find relevant spells outside of mana, which is more or less successful here. Alright, so I wanted to get the Snapcaster Mage down because I knew that he in that turn wouldn't have Tron, and our Snapcaster Mage wasn't going to get better. So we're getting rid of a Wurmcoil Engine because, not Walking Ballista, because that was the only thing that he actually was able to play here. And I want to prevent Tron in this turn because he's stranded with Ugin, Karn, and Wurmcoil Engine in hand. The Fulminated Mage, of course, helps to mitigate. And I'm just blowing up and with this tower here. So Snapcaster Mage will be able to deal with the Wurmcoil Engine, and then I'm just hoping that for one turn he won't draw a land. So that we can actually set up our Jace. And he's already a life total, like now at 8, where it's not necessarily enough for him to play a Karn. But he finds the land, plays the Karn, sacrifices Sanctum of Ugin, and goes after one of our Snapcaster Mages, realizing that it is time for him. So we're finding a lot of different things here. Going after... Yeah, I have to ditch the Fulminated Mage to counter the Wurmcoil Engine, and I think I also bounced the Karn, right, because he sacrificed one land in order to... right. So wait. What? Alright, now we're paused, right? He sacrificed the Sanctum of Ugin, so we only had access to 6 lands again, and I knew that I might have been able to either find a shock to kill him or get back our Fulminated Mage, or even just survive by him not drawing a land here. So a lot of possibilities. And we indeed found a Kolaghan's Command, which I had to discard in order to be able to play the land and then replay the Kolaghan's Commands from our graveyard, getting back our Fulminated Mage, putting him off of Tron indefinitely, and also putting him down enough mana to not be able to actually play anything. And he's down to 2 life, and there we win. Alright, round 3, the 3rd round in a row that we're playing against Tron. I keep a 5-lander on the play here, because with Serum Visions, that's basically fine. We also do find a couple of sweet spells here, and then most of it is being destroyed by that Expedition map. So we're electing to go with Inquisition here. I'm taking the Chromatic Spear because he doesn't have access to green then, and that was just the best way to put things there. So he does have Tron. He also does have a Wurmcoil Engine. We can't really prevent it. We do have a Kolaghan's Command in hand. That might be enough coming down at some time or at some point. And we do have... So I'm putting the Cryptic Command on top. And here I'm keeping my options open as to whether or not I want to kill the Wurmcoil Engine or instead just block with Jace and then flip the Jace. And that's relevant because, of course, that buys us another turn, while the other play would have been more aggressive towards Zan. But I'm electing to actually flip the Jace here. I have access to Cryptic Command and maybe be able to also bounce the Wurmcoil Engine at some point. We get an Own Stone. Also find that he does have Blast Zone and Sanctum of Ruin in hand. And here, so I'm killing the Wurmcoil Engine, and at this point we're going high risk basically. We needed to get rid of it at some point. Now there's a case here for the next turn. This turn is actually the relevant one. He does have enough mana for almost anything but anything basically. And here I'm actually going after the Wurm token to save my Jace, and knowing that, or hoping that I draw a blue card in order to use Force of Negation. We're drawing a Thoughtseize, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. He top decked an Ulamog and everything is gone. And from here on out, of course, we lose the game. Then game 2. I also did a couple of changes to the sideboard because I was expecting a lot of Tron. So I put in actually 2 Damping Spheres and also 2... Oh, there's one. Spell Skies. Spell Skies, of course, not for the Tron matchup, but that will also show off at some point. That's why I'm already mentioning that. Alright, so he's spinning his wheels, and since I know that we have Damping Sphere as a backup, I'm just going to go with Rebel Master, and Rebel Master is just a 3-turn clock with a little bit of backup, and therefore, yeah, our opponent already concedes here, which is a pretty fast 1-2 punch here. And also, I think we're surprising our opponent sometimes with Damping Sphere, because most of them by now aren't actually bringing in Nature's Claim anymore, but instead electing to go with just Veil of Summer, and I was so pissed about that I actually wanted to have something that is punishing that play pattern. Alright, game 3 here with only 10 minutes total in the first 2 rounds, first 2 games. We don't have a great hand here, but our opponent is mulliganing to 4, and I'm pretty happy to have 2 discard spells here. Also, because I want to slow him down pretty fast, I'm electing to go with Thoughtseize over Inquisition, because sometimes it happens that they keep like a turn 3 Tron and then go after some sort of Karn. Here we have the Spell Snare up from the sideboard to go after Sylvan Scryings, should that come up. It doesn't, sadly, but he's in such a tight spot here already that he indeed has to crack it, which he does here. And here, of course, like best case scenario for him, he draws a land and a threat, but the land is not it is a Tron land, just not the right one. And now I'm just taking a step back here, letting him play a bit, getting in a little bit of damage, although that's a little bit of a risk. And here, after a couple of turns, and again, the Urza's Mine just keeps coming back to haunt me. Killed one Urza's Mine, had another one in hand. So Relic here, I'm going after to protect my Fulminated Mage in the graveyard. There's another one, and our opponent doesn't have access to green yet. Snapcaster Mage takes care of the other Sylvan Scrying, so I don't have to waste a counter with Cryptic Command on it. Of course, also would have been able to Spell Snare there, but being proactive and getting a Snapcaster Mage onto the battlefield seemed better, just to damage him a little bit. Here we also do have Snapcaster Cryptic Command, which I will use at any given point in time. and I'm choosing to go after him here. And I already know that he does have a Veil of Summer. By the way, yeah. All right. Hexproof, not a big deal. I just want to get the Snapcaster Mage down basically, and also now we know that our Cryptic Command will likely get through. Yeah, finding another Fulminator Mage here, but we already have more than enough damage on board, and the Oblivion Stone, like, with no access to full Tron here, is just not enough. Alright. Alright, round number 4, we're playing against Infect, and I'm not having the best hand of my life, neither against Infect nor against basically anything else, but since I'm on the play and I do have a Wandering Shroom, I'm electing to actually play. While he's playing Breeding Pool Noble Hierarch, I'm actually thinking about Banned Flicker, and therefore, like, I wanted to prevent a Soul Her turn 3, so I'm electing to not go with Jace here, especially because I have Force of Negation up here, and then realizing that against Infect I actually should have maybe kept it up to find or to kill the Blighted Agent. Being lucky here, which I'm not often, but finding the Kolaghan's Command is the perfect answer here, and also played very well with the decisions that I made before. And he just follows up with a Noble Hierarch, and I think gets blown out here. Not yet, but quite soon. Yeah, from here on out, it's also, there's just no coming back. Game 2 of this match is quite interesting because it only lasts like a couple of turns again, as always, but we do have a very good hand with a little bit of hand disruption and also removal. The only problem here is that if he does have a Blighted Agent in hand, this play would have been really punished, but I also can't just let it live with only one removal spell in hand. So when he's tapping 2 mana, I'm already concerned that it might be a Blighted Agent, but he actually had a Blighted Agent and wanted to protect it with playing the Spells Guide. Therefore, we are still alive here. Otherwise, well, we still drew a Terminate, so that also wouldn't have been such a big deal, but from that perspective, was still the better decision. Now we have to play around the Spells Guide, and our opponent here, thinking he has the Spells Guide on board and we just have 1 blue mana, he can't lose, so he's pumping everything while he has priority. And then I'm going to go with a Nimble, he's empty, and follow it up with Grim Lavamancer, Terminate, and our opponent's just dead. Alright, and now we're coming to the insane 5th round against Affinity. And we're on the play with a hand that I actually didn't want to keep. I accidentally pressed keep. So I'm being pretty aggressive here, going after his mana just to slow him down long enough for me to find some lands. And then we actually do have a pretty decent, hand against Affinity. So I'm just killing everything that's possible here and hope that I find another land. But we're missing Force of Negation, also just super bad without another blue card in hand. And our opponent also doesn't have, he only has access to color spells right now. So here, as we find the Goblin Revelmaster, our opponent elects to go with, or finds one of these Springleaf Drums and kills our thing. But with Kolaghan's Command being in our hand, we can still go with the Goblin Revelmaster again. So I'm taking 1 turn off here to go and get rid of his colorful mana sources, just because I know that I probably can't beat a Master of Ethereum. Here, the Goblin Revelmaster just building a little bit of a board, and every time it's coming down, it's just really good. Also way better than Seasoned Pyromancer, by the way, so in case you're thinking about that. Since I know what he does have in hand, at least partially, I'm also, after this attack, electing to Thoughtseize his hand. And taking out the Master of Ethereum, since Force of Negation can take care of the Galvanic Blast. So here he's attacking for 4, and he actually also had lethal there. But since I know that I have access to another Colgan's command here, I'm just electing to go Snapcaster Mage, kill the thing, make him lose to life, and then next turn we have lethal, which you can't prevent. Yeah, and then with the Lightning Bolt, it's super lethal. So this was a little bit lucky, but overall pretty alright. And going into game 2, I'm feeling pretty confident because for the most part we do have a lot. I brought in Plague Engineer because they do have Blink Moths and all kinds of stuff, but his first turn already, like before I have any mana down, he already has an Oakbound Ravager plus 5 other artifacts. Just insane, and we're just having a lot of lands in hand. But this hand I would never pitch with a Colligan's Command, Plague Engineer, and a Serum Visions to find things, but Steel Overseer here is just an insane draw on turn 2, and then he even has a Cranial Plating, and then it's just... At this point, it's just stupid. This is my turn 2, we're basically dead, both in life and on board. Still fighting the good fight here. Without the Steel Overseer, I like being able to be activated once. I think we might have been able to crawl back into the game, but here we are. 6 damage on board, we're just dead. And here's game number 3. And game number 3 of my 5th round on this Sunday was actually the reason why I decided to get back and record it and also narrate it. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did playing it. So, of course, it's a little bit spoiled here, but we do have a decent hand. I'm opening here so that we can go with Lightning Bolt because I want to prevent him from basically accelerating his mana beyond belief with creatures. And here, again, we could have played the Jace, but again, I want to keep the Lightning Bolt open until I can play the Plague Engineer. But actually, very well played by my opponent, going with the Ornithopter in his third turn here, or third turn, because, well, he probably was able to play beforehand, but there at that point I wouldn't be able to interrupt his mana generating so that he can power out the Edge Champion. And at this point, like Edge Champion being already equipped with Cranial Plating and me not having any access to going after the Edge Champion, my only hope here is to actually find a Colgan's Command before he adds more artifacts to the board, and then I just blow them all up so I get to the core of all my problems here and can kill the Edge Champion. So from here on out, it becomes a very interesting but also a game that's very, very much on my back foot. So I'm just discarding a little bit, I'm utilizing my Jace as long as I can, killing the Outbound Ravager and bouncing the Cranial Plating. But he also follows up with another Outbound Ravager. I'm finding a Spellskite here and Plague Engineer. Right, and he knows that once Plague Engineer hits, I can just name Outbound Ravager and then he won't be able to have it survive. So I'm naming Blinkmoth Nexus. And here, Spellskite, of course, being able to counter, to block actually here. There I did a mistake. I thought that I might be able, because I actually couldn't zoom, like I was actually clicking on plating, but I couldn't zoom it. And I thought I might be able to grab Cranial Plating with Spellskite, but turns out that wasn't the case. But I could get the Outbound Ravager triggers. He declines to actually use the ability, so I'm just jumping in here for 2 damage and just block. So I know that I'll have access to the Crypt Command here, and with more mana, I could have also gone after the Steel Overseer. He has a couple of problems with tapping here. But yeah, basically we're tapping them down, just drawing a card, buying a little bit of time, and of course he's just pumping the team and also playing a Master of Ethereum, which is super bad. I'm actually drawing one of the only outs here, but with the Master of Ethereum, added to the board. I'm not able to again kill all the creatures with Jace, which I could have flashed back at that point already. And he finds another Ornithopter, so even if I now flash it back, I wouldn't be able to go and follow it up with a Terminate of the Edge Champion, just hitting in for a little bit, and again returning the Spell Skies over and over to just be able to block here. Also needing to keep one creature back because his Steel Overseer by now is big enough to also kill us. Jumping in with one spell, and then he finds a 2-mana spell, which I can Spell Snare, block the Spell's Guide. He doesn't know about my Terminate, so he just keeps a Steel Overseer back to be able to block. And I know, of course, that I can kill it, so you're in for Xaxes after, I don't know, man, like 8 rounds or something. Maybe a little less, like 5 rounds or something of him attacking with a Edge Champion being equipped with a Cranial Plating. All right, so there were a lot of game actions here. Actually, the Moto replay program thing here is pretty fast. I hope I led you through it. It's a very short video. I hope you enjoyed it. So you'll see me tomorrow on Tuesday. I don't know when it's gonna go up in the 5-0 dump. It was a very fun league, and yeah, I told you what the changes were. So if you go back, and because I don't want to go forward with the sideboard specifically, so I'm not going to put it into my deck list, which I usually link down below to the video. So if you want to go with the exact cards that I played here, you can either look it up in the 5-0 dump or just listen to what I said, what I changed. And yeah, so have a really great rest of your Sunday. Grixis prevailed, and yeah, see you around, guys.